So, Cambridge Road and Germantown Road. Everybody drives through this intersection, tries to walk through it. That's part of the problem here. Whether you're coming from Miller Heights or you live off of Hunter Mill Road, if you live to the east on Germantown, you want to get over to Oakmont Rec Center. Uh, Starting with the existing configuration that you see on the screen here today, the red arrows are showing the existing widths, and the red lines are showing the existing curb lines that are out there today. These will be important to come back to over the next few slides when we start making comparisons to some improvements and what that looks like compared to these existing conditions or these existing red lines. Again, everyone today uses this intersection, and if you're trying to go east and west, you're always going to be slowed down more than if you're trying to go north and south. If VDOT prioritizes traffic on the main lines, which in this instance is Chambridge Road, and you can actually see that from the results on the table on the screen. Looking at the table here in the lower corner, all the green boxes, those are operations of Chambridge Road in its existing condition, right? It shows better operations than on Germantown, which you can see are mostly the red boxes. Unfortunately, over time, if we don't do anything at this intersection, we know traffic is going to continue to increase, so these operations are only going to get worse over time. So let's think about, from a community perspective, how do we start solving this intersection no matter all the other things going on? So when the current comprehensive plan for this area was last approved, it did recommend a grade separated interchange at this location. So I think the good news is there's more of an understanding today, in the planning world, that grade separated interchanges often do more harm than good, especially when they're in neighborhoods such as this. So on the screen here, you can see we did draw what the grade separated interchange would look like relative, again, to that existing condition in red. Believe it or not, this is actually a very conservative grade separated design. We did narrow it to the extent possible, and even after doing so, it's essentially taking up about 75% of the front yards of the townhomes along Chambridge and along Germantown. Obviously, this is not something we would ever propose. It does solve a vehicular movement issue, right? Grade separation has better traffic flow, but obviously it also creates then problems for pedestrians and bicyclists trying to walk through this location. This one always makes me chuckle. This little graphic here, once your street is improved, the curb will be right here. Right? Part of this comes from the transportation history of the industry itself, where the idea of an improvement was improving the flow for vehicles. And obviously, right, for this resident, moving the curb right in front of their house, cutting down their tree is absolutely not an improvement to them. So with that in mind, we were tasked by SCDOT to work through other options for how this intersection could function and actually improve some of the wait times for people who are out there today without compromising the homes nearby. So on the screen, one thing that we did start with was the historical transportation industry thoughts of, let's grow the intersection. What if we just added lanes until you got to a point where the intersection started working? On the screen, though, as one version of that, we did narrow the lanes that are out there today to the extent possible. We narrowed the existing median and try to use that existing pavement more efficiently. We then added lanes in 3 of the directions, and that still doesn't get us to an acceptable level of service. Unfortunately for this strategy here, we could add multiple lanes for each movement and still not get the intersection to work, because unfortunately, the problem isn't the intersection itself, it's on either side of the intersection, where we're still constrained by the number of lanes. On either side of Chambridge, Germantown is still only 2 lanes. So again, what's on the screen here is solving for vehicles, but at the end of the day, it's not solving for any other modes of transportation, and it's not experiencing the delays and the queues that people are experiencing out there today. Another option that we did look at was a roundabout. Roundabouts are really great ideas when you have a high volume of left-turning traffic. Unfortunately, though, they get congested easily when there's also a through volume that's very high through the intersection. They also take up a lot of land. They're not very pedestrian or bicycle friendly, especially as they get larger and larger, as you need more vehicular lanes for more volume going through there. I won't go too far into detail on this one, but this one that we looked at is also called displaced left turns. VDOT's actually using this more and more around the Commonwealth right now. But what it basically is trying to do is get rid of that conflict between the left turn movements and the through movements. That conflict there is what adds so much delay to an intersection. Again, it's very extremely land consumptive, too wide for pedestrians to cross, and obviously just not a great option for this location. So all of these ideas, all these conversations, these strategies that we did look at led to a creative conversation that we had in a meeting with staff, where we were asked to walk through different solutions, different ideas. And one that staff asked us to study was, what if we restricted left turns at the intersection of Germantown and Cambridge to remove those conflicts that I just mentioned between the left turns and the throughs? So let's walk through this. How would it work? What would it look like? Obviously, again, we would restrict eastbound and westbound left turns from Germantown onto Cambridge Road. In this instance, Rosehaven and Rose Forest would have to be reconfigured. You can see it on the screen here to be a more traditional roadway between Germantown and 123. Obviously, a lot of consideration would have to go into that design. There's a lot of driveways out there today. Obviously, the fire station is there on the corner, and we wouldn't want to do anything that would block the fire station driveway. So we'd have to think about how this would work in the future. So how would it actually function? Like how, if you were driving through here, how would you actually do that? So let's start on the left part of the screen here and follow the blue line. So if you're traveling eastbound on Germantown Road and you want to go north on Cambridge, you would first turn right on that reconfigured Rosehaven. Then you would turn left onto Cambridge and continue on north as you do today. Let's follow the red arrow. So you can see if you're traveling from the east on Germantown, or you're from the east, but you're going westbound to head south on 123, you would continue through the Cambridge Road intersection and then turn left on reconfigured Rosehaven, and then you turn right on Germantown Road. So let's talk about what that means from an operations perspective. Removing those left turns allows us to narrow the road. Again, you can see that the red is the existing condition. The black arrows there are the reconfigured. When we're making comparisons to other improvements, this improves the flow, right? Less conflicts, better flow with this intersection. It makes it go from failing to acceptable level of service. The narrow crossings are better for pedestrians. It takes less time to cross the road. The big thing here is that removing those left turn conflicts, those cars can then go through to other intersections that do have additional capacity, and we're spreading that volume and those conflicts throughout the network so that any one location isn't so severely overburdened like it is today. Germantown and Cambridge will continue to fail without any improvement, right? In this instance, with the configuration on the screen, we're actually going from failing to acceptable operations, which means people will actually be waiting there less. So if you look at the table again in the bottom corner of the screen, look, this is showing the AM and PM delays and how many seconds of delay you're waiting in each scenario. You can see on the screen in the existing condition that people are waiting about a minute per vehicle in the existing condition. If we do nothing to this intersection, again, traffic is going to continue to grow. There are other approved developments in the area that are coming online. And if we do nothing and let traffic grow without improving this intersection, you can see there that the delay will be around 100 seconds per vehicle, right? Going from about a minute up to 100 if we do nothing. If we go ahead and we implement this scenario, this mitigation strategy, it actually is a reduction. So that is traffic in the future that's going to happen regardless of whether or not this development goes through. If we put this improvement in place and the associated traffic with this redevelopment, you can see on the screen delays around 35 seconds per vehicle. That's about a 35% reduction when we're compared to existing condition. So this could actually be a real solution to the problem that folks in the community are experiencing with extended delays today. This is all true on the weekends too. You can see everything in green here, the wait times commensurate reduction on the weekend, even after the site is built out. Again, this project alone isn't generating the need for this type of solution, but this is one at-grade solution that could provide relief, real relief at this location. So moving on the screen here, I know there's a lot of numbers, but bear with me, focus on the yellow lines. The first table demonstrates a reduction in delay for cars at the intersection of Cambridge and Germantown. Again, along that yellow line there, in most cases you can see it's around a 50% reduction compared to the existing conditions out there. The bottom chart looks at the delay along the red and blue routes. Instead of waiting a long time to turn left like you do today, driving through and following that red route, again, it's actually going to be a reduction in time compared to what's out there today. Like it's around 50% reduction for the worst movements in each direction, right? In the morning, most folks are driving north. In the evening, most folks are driving south. So the beauty of this design is that we're both solving a major traffic issue, right, at one of the worst intersections, Oakton, while we're also making that intersection dramatically more pedestrian and bicycle friendly. So if we really care about getting through this intersection more quickly, getting to 66 more quickly, this is a solution that actually works.